All praise to the Most High, YAHAYAH, and to his son, YAHAYASHA, Messiah, YAHAYAH. This is Brother Holly here with the first Spirit of Truth broadcast here on the YAHAYAH House channel, as well as the House of YAHAYAH channel on this set-apart Sabbath day. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to the great I Am, he who is, was, and is to come, the Almighty One, YAHAYAH, and to his son, YAHAYASHA, Messiah, who gave himself for us that we might have life, and that life is in him, YAHAYAH. Now, in this first broadcast, we're going to have a quick read from the book of Enoch. We're going to have a couple of announcements, and then we're going to delve into Second Baruch from the Apocrypha books, from the Hebraic Apocrypha books, on the subject of judgment and how it's all going to go down. Are you ready? I hope so. And we're going to be precepting Second Baruch from primarily in this first broadcast from the book of Isaiah. And if the high wills it to be so that I live, and the second broadcast goes off, we're going to go back to Second Baruch for more precepts on the last days, the eternal judgment. This is a continuation of our series on the eternal judgment, and it is sent straight at you, child of Jacob. It is for you to be aware of what is going to take place in these last days. All praises. We'll be reading from the Sefer, and the reason we're reading from the Sefer is not because it's some great resource by any stretch of the imagination, but it is the best copy of Second Baruch that I got. And I personally accept Second Baruch as being inspired because I can precept it, and you can precept Second Baruch very heavily. At least I found I can. For how do we know doctrine, children? How do we know the truth? Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. And out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. You can find things in Second Baruch that the Messiah said or talked about. You can't find anywhere else. Not in the same way they're mentioned in Second Baruch. So I foot stomped about the truthfulness of Second Baruch enough, and I want to foot stomp about in the announcement phase about an upcoming work that I've announced on these channels before, and I'll just keep announcing it probably throughout its compilation as well as its creation. That would be the Word of YAHAYAH to the 12 tribes scattered precept version. It is still upcoming, children. The slate is being cleared. My calendar is being cleared as we speak, children, to begin work on that. So I'm extremely excited. There's a few little nitnoid things I got to tighten up before I can go full board, pretty much 24/7 on putting that work together, and I'm thoroughly excited. It'll be different for me not to be in the my current employ anymore, but I will be working full time for YAHAYAH. So I think that's by far the best boss I ever have in life, full-time boss, I should say, I ever have in life. And I'm thankful for this opportunity that he has granted me and commissioned me to do this work. And secondly, in an announcement, I would just like to say welcome to all our new subscribers. Both YAHAYAH's house and House of YAHAYAH continue to grow. I am so thoroughly excited about that. So to all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. I hope that you find your time here to be refreshing, your time here to be informative, your time here to be inspirational, and that if you have any questions, just please put it in the comment section, and I will be happy to answer them as I have opportunity. And I'm just here to help you continue in the faith, be rooted and grounded in truth, that you too may inherit eternal life. All praises. Turn with me, if you can, to First Enoch, chapter 104, verse 7. And we're going to read through verse 9. And this is why, the why behind the word of YAHAYAH to the 12 tribe scatter precept version. This is really the linchpin verse, and the verse that YAHAYAH used to stimulate my mind that such a thing is needful. As you've seen me with children, you probably saying to yourself right now, Brother Hollis, you have a different book every week. And that can be true, depending on what I'm reading about and what I've been studying. Because various documents of various books have different compilations of scriptures, have different different underlying source documentation. Some are very Greek-centric, like the Sefer, for example. Some are very Hebraic and Aramaic-centric, like His Word. And you kind of have to, glean through all that in order to know and find the truth. But suffice it to say that what's forthcoming will be a work like no other, and I'm just thrilled about that, and I'm looking more forward to it than you probably are, child, because for the longest time I've wanted a single source that could be trustworthy, and I think that's what we will have when it's finally finished. All praises. Let's read 1 Enoch 104:7. Now will I point out a mystery. Many sinners shall turn and transgress against the word of uprightness. They shall speak evil things. They shall utter falsehood and create a great creation and compose ciphers in their own words. But when they shall write all my words correctly in their own languages, they shall neither change nor diminish them, but shall write them down all correctly, all which from the first I have uttered concerning them. When you highlight if you can. 1 Enoch 104:10. Another mystery also I point out. To the righteous and to the wise shall be given a cipher of joy, of integrity, and of great wisdom. To them shall cipher be given, in which they shall believe, and in which they shall rejoice. And all the righteous shall be rewarded, who from these shall acquire the knowledge of every upright path. Will you highlight? In those days, said YAHAYAH, they shall call to the children of the earth and make them to listen to their wisdom. Show them that you are their leaders, and they remunerated, and that remuneration over the whole earth. For I and my son will forever hold communion with them in the paths of uprightness. While they are still alive, peace shall be yours. Rejoice, children of integrity, in the truth. Will you highlight? So when we have the word of YAHAYAH to the 12 tribes scattered, when we have the book that doesn't have the changes, that doesn't have the additions or the subtractions, when we have that resource in our hands, it'll be a time of great rejoicing amongst the righteous. For it will outline directly, exactly the path of uprightness. And we'll be able to share that path of uprightness with the inhabitants of this world, so that they too can benefit from the wisdom. Oh, praises. So I read this often, child, as encouragement to myself. And I'm reading it to you today, children, as encouragement to you to keep on the lookout. It's about to begin. We're about to have the resource of the ages finally in our hands. All praises. Second Baruch. Second Baruch, if you got it. This is on the subject of eternal judgment. A few weeks ago, we did a little teaching on these channels on preparing for eternal judgment. But the Most High stirred me during this week to keep pounding away at this topic. For the time of the consummation of all things is not at hand, but we're going to find out in this broadcast and in the following broadcast that this time the time is now, and there's only one or two more events that need to happen before he wraps it all up, before the advent and the second coming of Messiah takes place. Oh yeah, Messiah's coming back to this earth to rule and reign for 1,000 years. And he's going to come back and rule and reign from Zion. And there'll be one city on the earth where the righteous shall dwell, and that shall be YAHAYAH. And he will rule from there. He shall rule the nations, it says in Revelation, with an iron fist and an iron rod he shall rule them. Ain't going to be no negotiation during his rule. It's going to be his way or the highway. All praises. So if you are offended by being told what to do now, you don't have no choice then. You can be stiff-necked now, but not then. So hopefully all your stiff-neckedness can be addressed in these last days, and that you will find a heart of obedience to the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments, judgments, ordinances, precepts. You'll find a heart to obey his way, word, and will, and you'll find your heart to take heed to his voice in this time. You don't want to turn your back on the truth in this hour. But we're going to read how it's going to go down and how you're going to lose out. You're going to lose out on eternity, child, if you turn your back from the truth. Let's read 2 Baruch chapter 13. Let's start reading in verse. Let's start reading in verse 2. Stand upon your feet, Baruch, and hear the word of the Most High, because you have been astonished at what has befallen Zion. You shall therefore be assuredly preserved to the consummation of the times, that you may be for a testimony, so that if ever those prospering cities say, why has the Most High brought upon us this retribution? Say unto them, verse 5, this is 2 Baruch chapter 13, verse 5. Say unto them, you and those like you, who shall have seen this evil and retribution which is coming upon you and upon your people in its time, that the nations may be thoroughly smitten with your highlight. Now, if you're reading 2 Baruch chapter 13, you might say, wait a minute, Brother Holly, you skipped some words. Well, in the Sefer, one of the things I like about it is that it italicizes the words that were italicized in the ancient copies in the English. When documents were copied into English in the 1600s, 1700s, a lot of the ancient, I shouldn't say ancient, a lot of the old time translators, if they added a word to the underlying interpreted text or translated text, they would italicize the word they added, so it could be known by the reader that those words were added by the translator for ease of reading. They did not appear in the underlying text. The 1611 KJV is such a book. So if you see italicized words in the your copy of the 1611 King James or subsequent King James up until the 1800s, know for a fact that those words were added by the translators. And like I said, one of the things I like about the Sefer, it stays with that same theme. It will italicize words that were added by the translators. So we know they weren't there. And a lot of times, children, you will realize that those italicized words change the whole meaning of the text. Wow. And if Yahweh wills it to be so, and his son Terry and I live, I may do in the coming weeks a teaching just on the italicized words, verses with the italicized word that change the meaning, that change the focus, that point to other people and not the children of Jacob. Oh, praises. Let's read it again. 2 Baruch chapter 13 verse 2 says, stand upon your feet, Baruch, and hear the word of the Most High. Because you have been astonished at what has befallen Zion, you shall therefore be assuredly preserved to the consummation of the times, that you may be for a testimony. So that if ever those prospering cities say, why has the Most High brought upon us this retribution? Say unto them, you and those like you, who shall have seen this evil and retribution which is coming upon you and upon your people in its time, that the nations may be thoroughly smitten, and then they shall be in anguish. With your highlight, who's going to be in anguish? The nations. And if they say at that time, for how long? You shall say to them. Now, when these heathens, when these Gentiles, when these non-Hebrews say, how long are we going to be smitten for? We can take them right in the second rule. We'll show you how long. And then they shall be in anguish. Verse 7. And if they say at that time, for how long? You shall say to them, ye who have drunk the strained wine, drink ye also its dregs. The judgment of the lofty one, who has no respect of persons, on this account he hath aforetime no mercy on his own sons, but afflicted them as his enemies, because they sinned. Then therefore were they chastened, that they might be sanctified or set apart. Verse 11 is key. But now, ye peoples and nations, you are guilty, because you have trodden down the earth and used creation unrighteously. For I have always benefited you, and ye have always been ungrateful for the benefit. Will you highlight? Now let's turn over. Hold your place. In 2nd Baruch, chapter 13, turn over to Isaiah. Book of Isaiah. All praises. If you don't have a sefer, he has rearranged the books in the sefer. So books are not in their King James order. Isaiah chapter 13, if you will. Thank you for your patience. Isaiah chapter 13, let's start reading at verse 9. It says, behold, the day of YAHAYAH comes, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Will you highlight? For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Will you highlight? That's Isaiah chapter 13, verses 9 through 11. I'll read it again. Behold, the day of YAHAYAH comes, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. We highlight. The sinners are going to be destroyed. We're going to read in Isaiah 24 in a second how they're going to be destroyed. Behold, the day of YAHAYAH comes again. Isaiah 13:9. Cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. And he shall destroy the sinners therefore out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened. We read that in Matthew 24. In its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for evil. We read that in 2nd Baruch just now. And the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. And I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Now let's turn on to Isaiah 24. This is a long read. And the more you read Isaiah 24, the worse it gets. So we're gonna if you will extend me this pleasantry and this, and give me leave to, I'm going to read a good bit of Isaiah 24. Let's start reading at verse 1. Isaiah 24, verse 1. Behold, YAHAYAH maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turns it upside down, and scatters abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for YAHAYAH hath spoken this word. The earth mourns and fades. The earth mourns, fades away. The world languishes, fades away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the Torah. We highlight. What's defiled the earth? People breaking the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments, judgment, orders, precepts. People turning their back on his wayward will and disobeying his voice. That has defiled the earth. This is why the earth got to be destroyed. We read that in 2nd Baruch. We're reading it again in Isaiah. I'll read it again, Isaiah 24:5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the Torah, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. We highlight. So I told you the destruction of the wicked that we read about earlier in the book of Isaiah. I told you how they're going to be destroyed is going to be revealed in Isaiah 24. It said that the inhabitants of the earth will be burned. We notice they ain't talking about the destruction of the wicked in Noah's time. It said that people in Noah's time, their minds on wickedness continually. Most High didn't burn them, did he? He drowned all but 8 people on the planet. It says here that the inhabitants of the earth are going to be burned with few left. Only a handful are going to be left, compared to the number that's going to be destroyed. All praises. 2nd Ezra chapter 7, or chapter 8, I'm sorry. When it talks about how many are going to perish and how many are going to be saved. It talks about the Most High making 2 worlds, one world of the wicked, one world of the righteous, and the world to come having few in it and not many. The world that now has many in it. The world to come will have few. This same dichotomy between the many and the few is what the Messiah talked about when he was on the earth, when he was asked the question, will there be many saved or few? He said, strive to enter the straight gate, for many shall strive to enter in and will not be able. And he said in another place, he said, broad is the gate, and wide, broad is the way, and wide is the gate that leads to destruction, and the many go in thereat. But narrow is the way, and straight is the gate that leads to life, and the few find it. Children, this is a narrow and straight way that few will find. This is a narrow and straight way that few are hearing right now. It's the narrow and straight way to read it precept upon precept, line upon line. It's the narrow and the straight way to open up write the vision on tables and make it plain. That's what you get here at the highest house and house for hire. The vision, the word is made plain upon tables. Not just tables of stone, but on fleshly tables of the heart. All praises. Allow these words to burn past your conscience and get into your heart. I'll read it again. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 3, the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for YAHAYAH hath spoken this word. The earth mourns, fades away. The world languishes, fades away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the Torah, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Verse 6, therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Verse 7, the new wine mourns, the vine languishes, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of Tabrets ceases. The noise of them that rejoice ends. The joy of the harp ceases. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, and no man may come in. A crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, as a shaking of an olive tree, as the, told you it was a long read, children. The gleaning grapes, when the vestige is gone, they shall lift up their voice. They shall sing for the majesty of Yahweh. They shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glory ye, YAHAYAH, in the fires. The name of Yahweh, of Yasha Allah, in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs. Glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Verse 17, fear and the pit and the snare upon you, O inhabitant of the earth. What's for the inhabitant of the earth? Fear, the pit, and the snare. Ain't no salvation for them. Ain't a word of salvation here. Oh, for the people of the righteous, there's always going to be a word of salvation. But what about the wicked? The majority opinion is the wicked. They've transgressed Torah. They've changed the ordinance. They've done evil toward the everlasting covenant. Therefore, they're going to be burnt to a crisp. A few people left. I'll read verse 17 again. Isaiah 24:17. Fear and the pit and the snare upon you, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass, he who flees from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that comes out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in a snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundation of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. Where have we read this before? Hold your place, my brother and sister. Hold your place in Isaiah, and let's go to 2 Peter. We gotta know. We gotta go to 2 Peter. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. But the day of YAHAYAH will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works therein shall be burnt up with YAHAYAH. And will you put down, see Isaiah chapter 24. Verse 11, then all these things shall be dissolved. What manner ought you be in purity of conversation and holiness with YAHAYAH? And yes, I didn't read the italicized words. I told you why earlier in the broadcast, because they were added. I'll read it again. Then all these things shall be dissolved. What manner ought ye be in purity of conversation and holiness, looking for and hastening to the coming of the day of YAHAYAH, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness with YAHAYAH. I told you before, we were reading in Isaiah, the righteous are not going to experience these things. We're going to be we're reserved from the fire. We're reserved unto glory. We're the inhabitants of the new heaven and the new earth. They're not. The wicked are burnt up. And the old earth too. And here's what you should be doing while you're looking for these things to come to pass. Verse 14, this is 2 Peter 3:14. Therefore, beloved, seeing that you look for such things, be diligent that you may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. Will you highlight? I told you at the beginning of this presentation, now is not the time to be walking on contrary to the Most High's way. Now it's time to not lighten up, but tighten up. These things are at the door, child. Everything that you were thinking about, everything you were working toward, everything. You were told in the scriptures, and if you've been here for a while, child, you've heard me say it. You shouldn't be out there borrowing money to get things. This Torah tells us we shall lend unto many and thou shalt not borrow. It tells us in the Hebraic scriptures in the book of Sirach that he that builds his house with other men's money is like one who gathers stones for his own grave. If you're out there getting a mortgage, which is a death debt, you made a covenant with death. Save your money if you want a house and buy it cash. Well, brother, that'll take too long. Where's your faith? If your faith is in the institution of man, guess what? It's all going to be burnt to a crisp. So what manner of person ought you be in all holiness? You need to be found of him. How do you need to be found? When the day of the Most High come, how shall you be found? Let's read it one more time. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 14. It says, wherefore, beloved, seeing that you look for such things. You're looking for the day of YAHAYAH. You're looking for the destruction of the wicked. You're looking for the redemption of the righteous. Since you're looking for these things, be diligent that you be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. And account the long suffering of YAHAYAH is salvation. Agree with him that his long suffering, that his patient waiting for the perfection of the saints is salvation. Let's skip down to verse 17. Ye therefore, beloved, seeing that ye know these things before, beware lest ye also be led away with the error of the lawless. Will you highlight? Be led away with the error of the lawless. Those who ain't got no Torah. Oh, they're gonna come for you. If you're sitting here today on the Sabbath tuning into these broadcasts, the lawless coming for you tomorrow. They're going to call you and say, sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so, we didn't see you in church today. You should say, why would I be amongst the assembly of the saints today? Today is not the Sabbath. Today is not the day of the Holy Convocation. Today is the first day of the week. I'm free to do as I see fit. I kept the Sabbath holy, which is the seventh day, which was yesterday. I kept the Sabbath holy. I was part of the Holy Convocation. I was in my home with the books open, hearing the words being spoken, having the sense made. Oh, praises. That's what I was doing. Well, see, we don't need to be keeping no law. See, yeah, you're a lawless one if you ain't keeping no law. Let me read it again. 2 Peter 3:17. Ye therefore, beloved, seeing ye know these things before, beware lest ye also, being led away with the error of lawless, fall from your own steadfastness with your heart. That's what the lawless is going to try to get you to do. They're going to try to take your mind off the coming judgment. You don't need to hear no preaching like that. See, because we about to get raptured out. We about to. Come on, man. Come on, man. Sister, brother, come on. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for your own steadfastness by the concepts and preaching of the lawless. They don't speak according to his words because there's no light in them. Book of Isaiah says in Isaiah chapter 8. They don't speak according to his words because they ain't got no light in them. Wow. They are walking in darkness. They are the blind leading the blind. And the Messiah said when the blind lead the blind, both fall in the ditch. You're going to be held responsible, my brother. You're going to be held responsible, my sister, for following blind leaders. Well, see, brother Holly, I just was following after pastor. See. Okay. What Messiah say? You want to follow somebody, why don't you follow Messiah's word? Messiah said, if the blind lead the blind, both fall in a ditch. Messiah told his followers that the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. He said, all that they bid you to do, do. But don't follow what they say. But don't follow after their doings. For they are blind. Oh yeah, the Pharisees were teaching Torah. He said, hey, if the Pharisees talking about Torah, you do that. This is the Messiah talking. He said, you do that. They sit in Moses, they sit in the place of Moses. Whatever they're telling you to do, do. But don't follow after their ways. They hypocrites. They say one thing and do another. I wouldn't tell you, I'm telling you, don't follow a hypocrite. We know one person worthy of following, don't we? He would be Messiah. You got his words. You got the words of those that heard him. You got the words of his trained apostles, to include the apostle Saul, who the world ignorantly calls Paul, who he personally called on the road to Damascus. You got all his writings. And you're warned right here in 2 Peter chapter 3, we didn't read it earlier, that don't twist up what Brother Saul wrote. Don't you twist up what Brother Saul, who the world ignorantly called Paul, wrote. Because a lot of people do. They twist up what he said to their own destruction. I'm going to read that. I skipped over it before. We'll read it. This is 2 Peter chapter 3. We're going back to 2nd Baruch in a minute. 2nd Baruch 13. We'll be back. But I had to read this to you. Drive the point home. All praises. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. And account the long suffering of YAHAYAH is salvation, even as our beloved brother Saul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, as written unto you, also in all his writings, speaking in them things in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable pervert, as also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. We highlight the unlearned and the unstable pervert what Brother Saul said under the Spirit, inspiration of the Spirit. They pervert the other scriptures as well. They pervert what the prophets said. They pervert what's in the Torah. They pervert it all. And we read at the beginning of this broadcast how they're going to pervert the word of uprightness that was written in 1st Enoch, long before Torah, long before the epistles of Saul, long before the Gospels, long before this epistle we're reading. The Most High revealed through Enoch that wicked people are going to twist up his words and not write them down faithfully. But there was going to come a time when the word would be written down faithfully, and the righteous would rejoice, and the righteous would teach it one to another. And there'll be a great uplifting of joy and a rightness, of righteousness in the world. All praises, that day is coming, child. That day is coming. All right, back. We're going back. We're going to wrap this up. All praises. Back to 2nd Baruch, chapter 13. We'll start reading at verse 9 this time. Let's start reading at verse 6. And then they shall be in anguish, speaking of the wicked. Verse 7. And if they say at that time, for how long? For the wicked say at that time, when they are in anguish, as they are now. You can look out the window. The wicked are in anguish. They don't know what's going on. They don't know. They run to the right, to the left. They don't know what to do. Everything they try don't work no more. The lies they told. You know it's the last days when the Gentiles start telling each other. When the heathens start telling each other. It's being touted every day now on some channel that those liars over in the Middle East who claim to be YAHAYAH, they don't call themselves that, because YAHAYAH means the upright of the Most High. They definitely ain't the upright, but claim to be his chosen people. They got the heathens telling everybody they're not it. You know it's the last day. They telling. I'm snitching. That's what they saying. 2nd Baruch, chapter 13, verse 6. And then they shall be in anguish. And if they say at that time, for how long? You will say to them, ye who have drunk the strained wine, drink ye also the dregs. The judgment of the lofty one, who has no respect of person, on this account he hath aforetime no mercy on his own sons, but afflicted them as his enemies, because they sinned. Then therefore were they chastened, that they might be set apart. But now, ye peoples and nations, you peoples and Gentiles, you are guilty. The verdict has come down, child. The Gentile, guilty. Guilty as charged. Why is he guilty? What is he guilty of? Because you have trodden down the earth and used creation unrighteously. For I have always benefited you. This is YAHAYAH speaking. For I have always benefited you, but you have been ungrateful for the benefit. The judgment, the verdict has come upon the nations. The verdict has come upon the heathens. The verdict has come upon the unrighteous. And their verdict is guilty. All praises to the Most High, YAHAYAH, and to his son, YAHAYASHA, Messiah, YAHAYAH.